and welcome to Angel Financial Academy and to another exciting episode of Financial Wisdom Unleashed. On this channel, we bring you inspiring people to help you navigate the journey to financial freedom using their own experiences and lessons learned. These shared experiences will help you understand that you are not alone. Today, we're delving into a topic that affects each and every one of us, regardless of where we are in our financial journey. The 7 money tendencies. Money is a constant presence in our lives, and understanding our unique tendencies can be the key to unlocking financial success, security, and peace of mind. Whether you're a savvy investor, a cautious spender, or someone in between, your money tendencies shape your financial decisions. In this video, we're going to explore these 7 tendencies, unravel their secrets, and provide you with practical tips to master your financial destiny. So, if you've ever wondered why you make certain money choices or want to improve your financial decision-making, you're in the right place. But before we dive in, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our valuable financial advice. Now, let's uncover the secrets behind the 7 money tendencies that could change your financial future forever. Let's get started.
You know who made you.
Thank you. Well, after 10 years of traveling the country, speaking about this topic, doing podcasts, writing books, I have realized that money, yes, money is very tactical, but money is also extremely emotional. And so I'll hear people say, well, if I can just make this much a year, I'll be okay. Or if I just had this much in savings, all my problems would go away. And the truth is, when that's where your hope lies day in and day out, in that emotion, the finish line always moves. If you think back, beginning of April, like April 4th-ish, random day, but think, okay, so everything kind of hit the fan mid-March, stuff started shutting down end of March. So we were probably in this for about 3 weeks. And I will never forget going to bed one night, and I just had this fear come over me. And we were laying in bed, and I told Winston, my husband, I was like, gosh, babe, I'm just fearful. I really am. I don't know why, but what if we never go back to normal? What if this is normal? What if financially we never recover? What if our 401k just bottoms out? What if we really can't get toilet paper? That was a real thing, right? What if there is a meat shortage? What if Amazon Prime really doesn't deliver in 2 days anymore? What are we gonna do? And I remember he looked at me and he was like, Rachel, we're good. We're okay. And what he was saying in his head and his logic was we were the third pick. I mean, Winston and I have been married 11 years, and we've been doing this from day one of marriage. So again, tactically, we're that third pick. We have been budgeting, we have been saving, we are out of debt, we have been generous. We have been doing it all, but I still had this fear. And then the next night, it was the same conversation. And it was frustrating me because my emotions were not matching my reality. But I remember what Dr. Chip Dodd said about fear. He said, fear is your body's reaction. Literally, God gave us this emotion to tell us that we are in need of something. And for me, in that moment, I needed to focus on truth. And the truth was, I didn't need to be afraid from a deep spiritual element, because I was kind of convicting that moment for me, those couple nights. I realized, man, maybe I've been putting too much value in my money in that, right? I mean, if that is shaken, who am I? I mean, all these questions were coming in my head, but focusing on the truth, Psalm says that the Lord is with me and I will not be afraid. Because when fear turns into anxiety or paralyzing fear, we don't want that. That's unhealthy. But I'm telling you all of this because so many of you are experiencing a level of fear. You're experiencing a level of anxiety. Maybe you're asking questions like, okay, if something happens, am I gonna be okay? Maybe that time is running out, I'm not able to do the things that I wanna do. What if I end up like my parents one day? What if? And these questions of fear come up. And I will tell you, to combat that fear, number one, with truth. But number two, digging into why. Start asking yourself those deeper questions, because when you can have self-awareness on why you view money the way you do, it gives you this clear path. But the problem is that we don't ask those questions. The problem is that we stay in this and we don't go underneath that foundation. Because we talk about that personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. And so tonight you're gonna hear from Pastor Craig, and he's gonna talk about discipline and systems. It's gonna help you with your behavior. Hogan and Dave, they're gonna talk about getting out of debt and budgeting and saving and giving. And all of these things are amazing. But again, asking that why question is so crucial, because we go through the motions of our life and we don't ask that. You know, if you go back and look over the last year with your money, what are the questions that came up? Did you ask, why am I shopping more during the pandemic than I ever did? Why can't my spouse and I get on the same page when it comes to money? Why can I seem not to live on a budget? Why do I keep making the same money mistake over and over again? Why does my mom keep telling me how to spend my money and I'm a grown adult? Why? And so when you can start understanding that, you come to a whole new level of financial peace. You're able to understand yourself and get out of debt faster and permanently. You're able to partner with your spouse more effectively. You're able to build wealth more quickly. And ultimately, you're able to get to a life that you get to live on your terms, and the life you feel like God is calling you to, and that money is not your roadblock anymore. So to get to that, I wanna walk through a couple of money tendencies to help you really start unpacking and answering that question, why. So there's 7 money tendencies I talk about in my new book, and we'll go over a couple tonight. But one of them, pretty high level, is spender versus saver. So if I gave you $100 right now, what would you be tempted to do? Would you be tempted to go out and spend it? Or would you be tempted to kind of save it in the bank? Because the great thing about these tendencies is neither one is right or wrong. Specifically in the money space, people like applaud savers. They're like, oh, savers, you're the blessed ones. Good job. And us spenders are somehow evil or something. No, that's not the case. Neither one is right or wrong. But the extremes on any of these tendencies can be unhealthy. And that's where the red flag comes up that you need to be aware of. So out of curiosity, who in the room is a natural saver? The responsible ones, yes, no. Okay, how many of you are a natural spender like me? Yes. See, we're kind of the fun ones, right? I mean, we just enjoy life. It's great. But again, watching out for these red flags. So an extreme for savers, the extreme unhealthy side is that you can hold money so tight and you can have an unhealthy relationship with it because it becomes your security full out. That you don't end up opening that hand to give and to enjoy. The extreme end of the spender is that if we spend everything we make, we're gonna be broke, right? We gotta rein it in. And then you gotta ask questions, why? Why am I spending? 43% of Americans said they spent during the pandemic because they were bored or stressed. And I probably added to that statistic, I'm not gonna lie. But really ask yourself, am I spending to feel good? Because when you spend, there's a scientific studies that show, yes, dopamine hits. Like it feels good, doesn't it? It feels good when you spend money. It feels good knowing that there's gonna be an Amazon package coming to your door soon. It feels good. So are you doing it to cope? Is that becoming your outlet? Ask yourself, if nobody sees this purchase, do I still want it? If I can't post it on social media where we're going, do we still really want to go? So spenders, ask yourself these questions. And when you get to those extremes, those red flags come up and it actually will end up helping you save money. Another tendency is experiences or things. When you spend money, do you tend to spend it on experiences? This is more me. I would rather go out to a great dinner, go to the zoo with my kids, go on a nice vacation. Where my husband, he is a things guy, loves things. He's like, yes, if I'm gonna work hard and spend my money, I'm gonna spend it on something that I want, that I can use over and over again. And like I look at our Christmas list, what we want, and I just laughed because I was like, I want a massage, and he wanted Alexa light bulbs. I was like, that's it. That's our marriage, basically. So how many of you are experiences like me? You will, yes. Okay, things, people in the room? If you're with your spouse, are you seeing opposites here? Yes. So this is the one part of money and marriage that you have to be careful with, because you value what you're doing with your money, using money as a tool in your life. You value two different things, and so conflict can arise. So that is why it is so, so important that you work together as a team, that you budget together, that you have goals together, that you have dreams together, that you work together versus apart. Another tendency is quality or quantity. So quality items you will spend, and it will be very nice. This is my husband. He's like, I just need 2 or 3 nice pairs of boots that will last me. Where I'm a little bit more quantity, I'm like, I'll have like 30 pairs of cheap earrings. It's okay, I don't need anything nice, I'm good. So who is quality in the room? You like your nice things, yes, that's good. Okay, quantity. Okay, you quality people, you need to watch out just to make sure, your red flag, that when you spend money, that you don't like kind of turn your nose up and you're like, no, I have to have the best of the best. Like the TV has to be like the brand new first edition because we're gonna use it a lot. We're gonna use it a lot, right? Or this brand, I have to have this brand. And then quantity people like me, again, we have to be careful because we can justify purchases so easily. I can say, it's just $20, it's fine. And you just justify it. I went through the minimalist challenge. I don't know if you've heard of the minimalists. They're great guys out of California, but they have a great message about minimalism. And I really, really appreciate it because they have this challenge that you take a month of the year and whatever calendar date is that day that you're on, you give, sell, or throw away that number of items. So on the first, it's 1. On the second, it's 2. 3, 4, 5, and you go, by the time it's like the 30th, I'm literally like finding like a bobby pin, and I'm like, okay, I don't need that, I'm good, I don't need that. It's hard, it's really hard. But clearing out the stuff, because I can just get stuff, and it's terrible. So watch out for that, that's your red flag for you quantity people. Okay, the last one is abundance versus scarcity. Abundance versus scarcity. So abundance people, yes, you see the glass half full, there's always more. More opportunity, more choices, more options, more money, more. We're good. If I make a decision and it's wrong, let's make another one because there's gonna be another decision to make, it's fine. That abundance mindset. Now again, the extreme of that, you can live a little Pollyanna thinking it's all gonna be fine. And then 2020 hits and it's not always fine, right? So watching out for that. Scarcity-minded people, again, glass half empty, tend to hoard a little bit, tend to keep things close, make some decisions based on fear. You don't take risks when you need to, that kind of thing. My mom, Sharon Ramsey, I wish people knew more of her. I wish she was out more. She doesn't care for the stage or all of this. She's like, I'm good. But mom is a saint. We love my mom. And my mom grew up on a farm. She's just she's awesome. But mom, self-admittedly, leans on the scarcity side of the scale. If you open up her fridge, she has leftovers from the past 3 nights. And always when we leave mom and dad's house, she's trying to give me 3-day-old green beans. She's like, just take it home. I'm like, Mom, I'm good, I'm really good. But she's always a saver. She always finds ways. Okay, that's just her natural bent. It is. And I'll never forget, we went on a trip when my older sister got pregnant, and it was the first grandbaby of the family. This was 7-8 years ago. And we took a girls' weekend trip away, and mom and dad treated us, which was very kind, me and my sister. So we walked into the hotel, and it was my mom, my sister, and me. Beautiful room. We went to the beach. It was so great, so nice. And Denise and I are looking around the hotel room, and there in the center of the hotel room was a fruit basket on this table. And we're like, oh. So we walk over, it was all wrapped. Take off the card, and it was from Dad. He said, girls, have a great weekend away, enjoy it, have so much fun, a very nice note. Denise and I are like, oh, that's so nice. So we kind of walk away. Well, we hear this paper crinkling open, and we look over, and my mom's like, oh, girls, now we don't have to pay for breakfast all weekend. Who wants the kiwi? Denise and I were like, what? And Denise was like, I'm 5 months pregnant. I'm getting omelets every morning. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. There's a pregnant woman on this trip. Because mom was going to make us eat this bananas out of the fruit basket all weekend. And so, God love her though. But yeah, it's that kind of stuff. So you do have to watch yourself on these tendencies. So these tendencies I love, again, not shameful, no guilt in them, but it helps you recognize why you're doing the things you're doing. And ultimately, it gives you that level of financial peace because you're understanding yourself, but you're also having a level of empathy with those in your life. Those you're married to, maybe your parents, maybe your grown kids, your friends. But understanding yourself, you're gonna know your money so much better. And we talk about how personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. So that behavior change is so key. And talking about discipline and talking about systems, one of the best communicators on the planet right now, a dear friend. He is a national bestseller and head pastor of Life Church. Absolutely incredible. I can't wait for you to hear from him. So please welcome to the stage, Pastor Craig Groeschel.
Thank you. Well, how good is it to be together? And welcome all over the world online. How many of you want something different for this year? Want something different? You want something better, ready for a little reset? What's interesting when you look around, almost everybody wants similar things when you look at the major things in life. Think about it. Almost everybody you know wants something similar, but the results are really, really different. For example, if it comes to a marriage, if you do get married, chances are you want a good marriage. How many of you would like a good marriage? You want a good marriage? I don't know anybody who says, I want to fight all the time, right? My goal is to get a VPO filed against me in 2 years or less. I hope to be divorced 4 times by the time I'm 38. Nobody says that. They want something similar, but the results are very different. The same is true with your health. If I ask you, do you want to feel good? Do you want to look good? Do you want to be healthy? Of course, you're going to say yes. I don't know anybody who says, I want to feel miserable all the time. I want to get winded when I walk up a single flight of stairs. You know, I want to look bad on the beach in my bikini. Nobody says that. We want similar things, but the results are very, very different. The same is true with our finances. Anybody wants a little bit of financial breathing room. We want flexibility. We want freedom. We want to be able to be a blessing. I don't know anybody who says, I want to worry all the time. My lifetime goal is to always live paycheck to paycheck. I want to fight with my spouse. I want to always be struggling. My goal is to file bankruptcy by the time I'm 40. Nobody does that. We want similar things, but the results are so, so different. And especially when it comes to money, when we look at other people that have what we want, we tend to either think they were lucky or we don't like them, or both. What I want to do is I want to remind you that most of the time, they weren't just lucky. What they were most of the time is they were consistent. In fact, when you look at almost any type of successful person, what you're going to find in almost every case is that successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. When you see people who are financially blessed, most of the time, you're going to see people who have consistently done wise things over a period of time. All of us will do good things occasionally, but what tends to happen is the occasional people look at the consistent people and discount their consistency. What we have to do is we have to recognize successful people tend to do consistently what others do occasionally. The challenge is that all of us, we can be a bit inconsistent. And in any area where we're struggling to achieve the life that we want or God wants, chances are pretty good that we have some inconsistency. Why do you think that is? Why do we battle with inconsistency? And there could be any number of reasons, but I'm going to give you 2 that are pretty common. Why are we not as consistent as we want to be? Number 1 is many of you, you're too focused on what to do. You're too focused on what to do. And number 2, You've been trying for too long. I'll unpack these. Number one, you're focused on what to do, which isn't a bad thing, but perhaps there's a better thing. Most of us, we're in a new year. Most of us, when we think of goals, we tend to think of do goals. What do you want to do? Here's my do goal. Here's what I want to do in the upcoming year, which isn't bad, but I would suggest to you something different. Instead of starting with do, I'm going to suggest who before do. Somebody say that. We're going to suggest who before do. While most people will ask, what am I going to do? I'm going to suggest you start with identity and instead ask, who do I want to become? There's a big difference. It's not just focusing on actions, but we're going to start with identity because identity tends to drive actions. If we're talking financially, instead of just saying, here's what I want to do, I want to pay off debt. That's not a bad thing, but that's just a do. Let's start with identity and ask, who do we want to become? And I don't know about you, but I want to be debt-free. I want to be irrationally generous. I want to be in control of my money rather than having my debt controlling and strangling me. Before we start with just the do, let's take a step back and talk about identity. Who do you want to become? Or even better yet, who does God want me to become? We're going to start with the who before the do because identity shapes actions. In other words, when you know who you are, you'll know what to do. Why is it that we're often inconsistent? For some of us, we're too focused on the do, and what I want to do is I want to talk and focus more about the who. We'll come back to this thought in a bit. Why are we inconsistent? Number one, we're too focused on the do. Number two is many of you, you've been trying too hard. You've been trying for too long. And when you think about it, in most of the important areas of life, what do we tend to do? We tend to try to do better, right? If your marriage is struggling, a lot of times you try to have a better marriage. I'm trying to be nice. Or if you're a person of faith, sometimes you'll try to start praying, or you may try to stop cussing, or you may try to be nice, or try not to yell at your kids, or you try to stop spending more than you make. The problem is, for some of you, is you've just been trying for too long. What I want to encourage you to do is this, to stop trying and start training. Because there's a really, really big difference. I want to encourage you to stop trying and start training. Because trying never achieves consistent results. Training achieves consistent results. We'll talk for just a minute about the difference between trying and training. I want you to think about this. If you're ever just trying to do something, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to do a budget, I'm trying whatever. If you're trying, that generally is this. To try is an attempt to change with minimal commitment, right? It's kind of like a half-hearted attempt. Well, I'm trying to get out of debt. I'm trying to do a budget. I'm trying to control my spending. But when you're trying, honestly, when I'm trying, I've got plenty of room to fail. There's almost like a built-in safety net to my language. It's not a full commitment. I'm trying, but I'm not fully bought in. When I'm trying, it's an attempt to change with minimal commitment. But to train is different. What is training? To train is a wholehearted commitment to achieve a specific result. And you know the difference. Because if you show up and you're just trying, you're kind of hoping for a good result. But if instead you show up and you're in training, you've got a plan. You got a strategy. If you're training in your finances, you come up with a budget. Every dollar's got a name. You got some gazelle intensity. You got the eye of the tiger. You got Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5 music playing, or Cobra Kai season 3, whatever it is. You're coming to play. You're not showing up trying to win. You're training to win. And there's a vast difference in your mindset. When you're trying, you give up if it's too difficult. You give up if you don't feel like it. But when you're training, you don't act according to your feelings, you act according to commitment. There's a different mindset when you're training. Can you guys handle some Bible? Is that okay? I'm the preacher in the house, so you gotta bring some Bible if you're the preacher. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, the Apostle Paul was talking to the Corinthians, and they would have known about the Olympic Games that had gone on for a long time, or locally, they had what was known as the Isthmian Games. It was a big competitive environment with wrestling and boxing and races and actually poetry, which is no joke. So that's kind of funny. So if you're a poet, you're a jock and you didn't know it. You're a poet and you didn't know, you're a jock and you didn't know it. There's a rhyme in there somewhere, but I just blew it. Okay, so here's what the Apostle Paul said. He said in 1 Corinthians 9, he said, "Do you not know that in a race, all runners run, but only one gets the prize?" I love what he says. Run in such a way as to get the prize. In other words, if you're gonna play, you might as well play to win. If you got a vision, you're not trying, you're training, and you wanna bring home the gold. He says, everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. In fact, they actually did. They had a very strict diet. They had no wine or alcohol. They would expose themselves to extreme cold and extreme heat. It was a 9-month, very intense training. They go into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last. But for those of you who are people of faith, we have a higher goal. We do it to get a crown that will last forever. What do? If they're going into competition, they're going into strict training. They're not trying to win, they're training to win. In fact, I like the Greek word that's translated training. It's the word agonizomai, and it means to contend for victory. It means to strain every nerve toward the goal. I love this. We're training. What are you doing? I'm training. I know who I am, and I'm training to become more of who I'm called to be. I'm not trying, but I have an identity. I'm an athlete who's in training. Imagine if you go to a marathon and you've trained and trained and trained, and you stand next to someone else and you lean over right before the gun goes off. He goes, "Hey, have you been training?" And the other person looks back and goes, "Nah, haven't had time." You're like, "You're kidding me. What have you been doing?" Well, I was going to, but I just got busy. I'm here for the free t-shirt, and I'm gonna try the best I can. Okay, you would look going, no way! Because when you're an athlete, when you're a competitor, when you're fighting for something that matters, when you have a vision, when you have a goal, when you're compelled to do something that could change your family tree, trying apart from training is unthinkable. I wanna encourage you, stop trying and start training to become more of who you know you are and who you're supposed to be. So the Apostle Paul says this. He doesn't say, so I run accidentally, hoping for a better tomorrow. I wake up and just be who I am and let the wind take me toward where it is. And when I see an advertisement, I hit click, 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 click. No. What he says is, I run with purpose in every step. When I take a step, there's purpose in it. There's a direction in it. Every dollar has a name. Every step has a goal. I know who I am. I'm running with purpose in every step. He says, I'm not just shadow boxing. Now, I love this. I discipline my body like a what? Let's all say it aloud. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Like an athlete. It starts with identity. Like an athlete, I'm training. When you know who you are, you'll know what to do. Identity drives actions. Paul doesn't say, I'm trying, but he says, I'm training. Some of you, it's time to stop trying and start training. I'm in training. Somebody needs to say that. I'm in training. Just say that aloud. I'm in training. I'm in training. If you're training for a marathon and someone says, would you like a half a dozen donuts? You may want them normally, but you can say no. Why? Because I'm in training. If you see yourself as someone who is debt-free, let no debt remain outstanding except the continual debt to love. No more payments, no more bondage, no more fights, no more fears, but you're becoming more of what you're called to do. And someone says, do you want the sofa with no money down and no payments until March? You just say, no. I'm sitting on my old ratty thing. My butt feels just fine on those springs. Would you like the new purse? No. The new shoes? No. The new watch? No. The new car? No. The new boat with twin sea-doos? Yes, but that'll be later. After I'm out of debt. Because when I woke up today, I was in training, and because I'm in training, there is purpose in every single step. It starts with identity. Who do you want to be? When you know who you are, your identity shapes your actions. When you know who you are, you'll know what to do. We're going to stop trying because we're in training. And with that, I want to pause for a moment. And I want to take every bit of humility and gratitude on behalf of my family and my 6 children and say thank you to Dave Ramsey. Not just my 6 children, but my 3, almost 4 grandchildren. And some of you say, wow, you got 6 children and almost 4, you must love children. And the answer is, nah. I just really love my wife. And all God's people said, amen. Right? So, no, I like kids, but I really like my wife. And on behalf of our family, we just need to say thank you. Because Dave helped me see who God wanted me to be. And the year was probably 1993, and Amy and I had been married for 2 years, and we were driving down the road in a Christian car. We were in a 1989 Honda Accord. And all the disciples gathered in one, see what I did there, okay? And we were in our little Christian car, and we turned on this radio station, and we heard this wild man. I mean, passionate and yelling, and I could feel sweat flinging through the radio waves. And he was telling you, debt's dumb. And then debt and being free is great. And I remember him saying, if you'll just get weird, if you'll live like no one else, one day you can live and give like no one else. And we just felt something resonate in our spirits. And so in our early 20s, before we had too many years of dumb, we started undumb and dumb and started consistently making weird decisions. My older kids looked back and said, Dad, we had no idea why our Christmas presents never came in boxes. And many of the pieces were not there. It was all garage sale. I was preaching away in clothes that didn't fit with the best money you could get at secondhand clothing store year over year over year. We were back in the day where we did the envelope budgeting system. Dave taught us that. Now you can do it on your computer. So if you don't know what an envelope is, you can ask your grandma or Google it, but we used to put our money in envelopes, and this was grocery money, and this was entertainment money, and this was emergency fund money, and little by little by little by little by little, we took a journey with purpose in every step because we knew who we were called to be, we knew who we wanted to become. So listen to me, we weren't trying to get out of debt, we were in training. There was purpose in every step. And we had a little house that was about valued at maybe $70,000, but on a $24,000 income in just a few years of time, by the age of 27, we paid off every single piece of debt, including our house, at the age of 27. With gazelle intensity and with purpose in every single step. So I want to say to Dave, thank you for helping us become who we're supposed to become. And I just want to take a moment and review. Let's talk about who before do. Who do you want to become? That's the first question. Who do you want to become? Who do you want to become? We aren't trying, we're training. And then you're going to ask yourself, how are you going to train to become that person? Who do you want to become? Let's just name it. And how are you going to train to become that person? Because we know that successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. And I believe with all my heart it's time for a reset. No more bondage, no more fear, no more anxiety about finances. We're going to dig in and say, we're not trying, we're training, and we're going to live like no one else so one day we can live and give like no one else.
Don't miss the next video where we shall dive deeply into the 7 money tendencies to help you make comparisons, choices, and decisions on how to control your money. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It helps to keep us going.